Every thought vibrates. When you focus on a thought, you activate its vibration within you. This active vibration, even for just 17 seconds, becomes an expanding point of attraction. Spending 17 seconds on a subject attracts similar thoughts, creating momentum. When you give attention to something and it activates within you, it's called an activated thought. It's important to understand that for every activated thought, there's an aligned thought you feel connected to. You can activate a thought in as little as 17 seconds. Up to 16 seconds, you're not aware of the relationship between your thoughts. However, once you cross the 17-second mark, you activate a point of attraction and trigger an emotional response. Depending on your sensitivity, you may notice it immediately. If you dwell on the thought longer, it becomes more activated and draws in more similar thoughts. It becomes a compelling and attractive thought for you. If you focus for 17 seconds and continue until the 68-second mark, that's the true magic number for vibrational activation. At 68 seconds, the activation within you becomes a powerful force, akin to a belief. You might be surprised that only 68 seconds can form a belief. Most people don't consistently think negative thoughts more than positive ones. It takes continuous focus or external influences to shape beliefs, just as it takes effort to align with your inner being. Thoughts you don't think are just thoughts. However, thoughts you continue thinking become chronically thought, making them easier to think. These thoughts represent your expectations. Once you align your expectations with your vibration and offer that vibration consistently, it starts showing up in your experience. You create it to be. Expectation may sound like something beyond your control, but it's not. You have the power to choose what you expect based on what feels good to you. Many people create by default, letting visible circumstances shape their vibration and accepting it as reality. However, you possess knowledge that transcends this approach. Others may label you as delusional when you deliberately think about something separate from the current reality. That's because they don't understand deliberate creation. Most people create by default, simply looking at what they can see and allowing it to influence their vibration, thus creating more of the same and considering it the way things are. But you have gained knowledge that surpasses this perspective. Once you possess this understanding, once you know about alignment and the larger vibrating aspect of yourself, your emotions become truly meaningful. It's natural to think certain thoughts because you've been thinking them, or because it's easier to expect them based on how things have been, but although it might be challenging, it's not impossible to expect differently. You can say to yourself, I will train my expectation to align with the positive feeling I desire, rather than trying to satisfy some external idea of truth. There are truths you don't want to recreate in your experience, and it's not a valid reason to give them your attention. Can you train your expectation by feeling how it would feel to be in a different state, even when you lack physical proof in the current situation? You train your expectation through your attention, by practicing it. You can train your expectation anywhere, simply by directing your attention. Even if someone tells you a complete lie or spreads a baseless conspiracy theory, if they manage to capture enough attention, people might give power to those ideas. The interesting thing is, both sides are convinced they hold the truth, but it doesn't relate to your own vibrational alignment. Throughout your life, you have created your essence version, which is the only standard you need to live up to. If you don't, you won't feel good. So, how can you expect a positive outcome or steps toward alignment when you've been focusing on the opposite end of the spectrum? It seems impossible. However, you can shift your focus to something else. The question is, how can you shift your vibration or attention? The answer is simple, because you can. Introduce a crucial factor into the equation, how you want to feel. You can definitely do that. Identify thoughts that feel awful, better, or great. Choose based on the way you feel, not solely on what you use to consider facts. Base your choices on your inner being's point of view, which you now understand. You can take any subject, whether it's worrying about your children, grandchildren, or the world's children, and briefly lose your alignment. But there's important information we want to share with you. The spectrum of life experiences is vast, ranging from incredible luxury and joy to indescribable discomfort. However, the emotional range is manageable. The gap between joy and powerlessness isn't insurmountable. As energy beings, you can't stray too far from who you truly are. This is why, regardless of bodily conditions, financial situations, or relationships, you're never too far from alignment. If you listen carefully to success stories shared by others, you'll recognize the truth in this. One day, they may have had nothing, and the next day, they were discovered. It wasn't merely luck, it was their vibrational movement and aligned rendezvous that led to those outcomes. This is why we emphasize alignment, even though it can't be seen. If we can convince you of the vibrational relationship you have the ability to manage, and distract you from the notion that you must control impossible or uncontrollable things before feeling better, we can show you that you have the power to feel better simply because you want to. By returning to your power and leveraging the alignment within you, things will shift rapidly.